Hello and welcome to the Item Box podcast. It's, as always, me, Sonicguru, and as always, Nikki17. This podcast is going to be mainly on one subject, but before then, been a while since the last one. I apologize. What have you been up to?
Life. Life. That's our excuse. Deal with it, folks.
Yeah, my excuse is I've been playing Pokemon Arceus.
Game of life, then.
I was just going to play it because it's one of those games I played for an hour. It's like, I'll go to Pokemon Violet instead. I'll play that instead. Yeah, I got really into it to a point I completed the game. I got Arceus. I got Arceus at the end of the game. I did it.
You got literally.
I mainly did it because there was certain legendaries that can only acquire in that game. It's like, how do you get a Manaphy? Oh, you have to do this quest in Arceus. So how long does that take? Oh, like halfway through the game. Fine, I'll play it. I got really into the game. I am looking forward to Legend ZA when that comes out.
All right.
That's a good like 2 to 3 weeks of playing the same game.
I mean, I've just been busy with moving a lot of stuff out of my room because I need to get some carpet in. So everything from objects, toys, bits and pieces, magazines, stuff I've had lying around for years. So I've been doing all that rigmarole. So it's been getting to be stressful. Then when I get stressed, I play Doom to relieve it a bit.
Always Doom. Always Doom.
Doom is eternal, as the saying goes. But then again, we got the Dark Age coming soon. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah, it's going to get a sword. We're against demons.
But a shield sword, that's the key thing.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on to the only subject we'll be talking about, which is Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Why can't I talk?
Sonic
Racing Crossworlds.
Yes.
The next in the line of Sonic Racing games, which, thinking about it, the series has evolved because originally it was Superstars, then it was All Stars, then now it's just Sonic Racing.
Yeah, we've gone from. I mean, it's funny because I still kind of consider it part of what I guess you call the Sega Superstar thing, which technically started with the iToy game. Then we got tennis, and then moved into racing, and I guess transformed is kind of probably the end point for that.
Yeah, but then we had Team Sonic Racing, which is a sort of spiritual sequel to the All Star series because it was still developed by Sumo Digital.
It was, yes.
This one, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, which, first of all, is developed by the same people who make the initial D arcade game. So when it comes to knowing how to make a racing game, these are the people who know how to make an arcade racing game.
I gotta admit, I was curious when initially it said it was developed by Sonic Team, thinking, oh, okay, they're handling it themselves. That's interesting. And I did think, surely they're going to take cues or maybe tech that was done by Sumo into this. And as you said, obviously, they've got another set of developers who've done racing.
I won't be surprised if a lot of the assets in the game were developed by Sumo Digital.
Yeah, well, I can say, before we get into it, I can say there is one track that is making a reappearance in this, and it's been in all 4 games now, which is Bingo Highway.
Ocean View.
Well,
not just Bingo Highway, but
no,
it's called Roulette Road in this game.
Roulette Road. Okay. But like I said, that has been
Roulette Road and Ocean View are both back in this game. Specifically, Ocean View from Transformed. Which I like Ocean View, but at the same time, it's like, God damn it! This is Sonic Racing's Green Hill.
I'm going to say this is the Green Hill of the Sonic Racing series.
Yeah, every racing game has had a Seaside Hill variant. But this is specifically Ocean View for the 3rd goddamn time now.
Let's say we got the casino one for the 4th time around, so there you go.
I hate Roulette Road less.
I don't hate it. I'm just surprised that we've got it now 4 times in these games. That's what surprised me the most.
Yeah, so Crossworlds, what is it? Well, like we said, it's a racing game, and the big gimmick of the game is track design. The leader, the first one in the front of the race, in first place, gets to decide what the second lap will be, and this could be any choice between 2 tracks. We only got a few to give right now. If I get the list up,
For what we've seen so far, I mean, there's the first thing people pointed out. There's a dinosaur one, which people said, isn't that taken from Secret Rings? Which
Yeah, the dinosaur we saw before this is from the state of play. This is when it was first announced.
Yeah, state of play. Yeah, which you briefly mentioned. Also, it's kind of funny that opens with 2 Sega games, both of this and Shinobi: Art of Vengeance, which we'll probably talk another time. But that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, which is also like, oh, again, another 2D Shinobi. It looks to be a bit like Ninja Gaiden or The Messenger in a sense. Okay, what's Ninja Gaiden doing? Well, they're doing Ninja Gaiden 4, but also releasing another 2D Ninja Gaiden game that is developed by the same people who make Blasphemous. It's like, god damn, we're gonna have some rival games again. Great.
I know. We're so getting a lot of hacky slashy games soon, aren't we?
Yeah. But yeah, before the state of play, there was a leaked screenshot saying, well, yes, it could have been fan made. And well, why is there a dinosaur there? Like, the only dinosaur we're kind of thinking of is the one from Secret Rings. Is it one of Secret Rings? It can't be. They can't lift that game. They haven't mentioned that since generations, okay? And that was a throwaway line. They couldn't do that. Secret Rings is Dinosaur Jungle is a track in the game. Oh my god.
I know. I mean, well, to be fair, they are running out of a lot of all right, what haven't we been nostalgia wanking at this point now? So I guess we're really heading into let's go to the obscure stuff now.
Yeah, we also got Metal Harbor, which is just a reskinned version of the Afterburner stage from Transform.
I was going to say, I mean, that's, again, what you meant by the leaks. I mean, I was very iffy about that itself. I was thinking it was half and half real, because 2 things that were putting me off. One was the lighter board that was used in Team Sonic Racing was in there. I thought that could have been Photoshop in there. And the other was what became the main key art thing was, why is Shadows in a monster truck? Because I honestly thought, surely that's not real.
It's just like, it's like we saw him in a sports car, so it's all racing Crossworlds. Okay, so another racing game. Like, then we see the monster truck, and we can briefly see the, like you said, the extreme gears. Like, what is this game going to be? And okay, even a couple of the other screenshots of the game look like very fake because the actual HUD elements looked like just plastered on. Like, they didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, and also
organization of what a HUD would look like for a racing game.
Yeah, and also it's typical thing where it's clearly from somebody's phone camera, so it's the question of, okay, is this real, or have they done it in a way to make it look like snapshot at the moment? But yeah, it turned out to be real, literally hours before it actually was revealed properly. But that surprised me.
Yeah, Metal Harbor. Like, I'm glad Metal Harbor is a stage now, because Metal Harbor is one of my favorite stages in SA2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just Afterburner.
That's the thing. I mean, for what I've seen of it, and there is video footage of this track in motion, so I'll probably put them in the links later on, but I have seen this in motion. For what I've seen, it is different enough. It isn't just Afterburner's track from Transformed. In fact, one feature they've done is, as you're racing, you see the missile, the one that you get near the end of the level. And
there's a lot. It's just the main aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I mean, it's an aircraft carrier, but it's got Sonic characters on it instead. That's kind of the key difference.
What would you do? Here's the characters from Forces that you're never going to replicate anymore.
Well, I mean, to be fair, at least they got some use for them. That's nice. I mean, after that game.
Yeah, just stick your hand into the box. We're keeping the cellar. It's fine.
But yeah, I mean, the key thing is that, with this game, as you said, so the idea is you do one lap, and then the second lap is that you get choices depending who's in front about which track you go, and then you return back to the original track, but now things have mixed up a bit. So lap 1 in Metal Harbor, you've got the missile that's just there in the background, and then by lap 3, it's fired in the air, so you could actually drive up and do flips and tricks, to get speed up in there.
Yeah. Also, a stage is called the Wonder Museum, which seems to be looking like it takes place in Spagonia. I'm trying to think of the actual, the color. I'm going by color palette, and Spagonia is the only one that comes to mind of the color palette. There's also Kraken Bay, which I thought was Pirate Storm for a long time. But no, it's called Kraken Bay. It's like, how do you know? Because Pirate Storm does not have a Kraken.
I mean,
I swear it did. There. No, the actual boss fight in Secret Rings was something completely different.
Okay.
But I'm still gonna call it Pirate Storm. Why? Because it's stormy, there's pirate ships, and Kraken is the ultimate thing. And even if I know people will say, well, it can't be Pirate Storm or Secret Rings because we got Secret Ring representation with Dinosaur Jungle. So why would it be Pirate Storm? Well, we had Seaside Hill representation in Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform, and guess what that had? A robotic kraken that wasn't
a robotic giant squid. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
that is not in any game.
Yeah, they just made that up entirely for that game. I mean, that's the thing, because some of this will be brand new stuff they haven't done in racing games. So that's kind of one thing they're going to do with this. Because another track is you're flying through like a lava planet. I'm not sure if that's meant to be flying from Colors or some other game, but it could be just original for this one.
Believe it or not, is something called Galaxy Force.
Ah, okay. Yes.
I need to find. I need to look at the name real quick, but yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a lava like going through space, and it seems like a lava dragon flying across you.
Yeah.
It's called Lava Cave, but it's homage to a game called Galaxy Force 2. And looking at it, this is the kind of game I would spend a good half-hour playing at arcades before I ran out of money.
Oh yeah, that's total money grabber. It would be one of those games. Because the other thing we should mention, because even though the key thing is obviously the new mechanic is at track lap 2 you go to different worlds, but the other feature is obviously the cars can transform again, so we're bringing that back. But the other thing they mentioned is we are going to get some other Sega game reputation in this game, and as you said, if that's just one, I'm curious to see what else they're going to bring in.
Yeah. But on top of all that, I'm looking at the list of stuff. Thank you, Sonic Stadium. That's just the main racing, but also it's what else is this? That's the only gimmick, because Team Sonic Racing, by comparison, did not have a lot.
I mean, the gimmick was you're racing in teams. So, for instance,
but all you do is just swap items, slipstream, slingshot, and the team. I will call the Team Blast. I can't remember what it's really called.
It's basically the all-star move, basically.
That was it. If you didn't want to race in the team, you could do solo races, but when you take out the team mechanic, Team Sonic Racing is just a basic kart racer with no identity beyond it's just Sonic characters and cars.
Yeah, it's well made. I mean,
it's well made. It's still a fun game, but at the time, out of the 3 Sonic kart races, it is definitely the weakest.
It's definitely. I mean, the thing is, it's a game that I wish, and I still regret this to this day, that I got to play with you in multiplayer mode, because it's a type of game I think is much better when you've got friends over, depending on which teams you're on. So,
well, I've got the Switch version, so that's my big mistake.
Yeah, yeah, but curiously enough, because the other thing that's been popular, this is something I should mention, is as all this news is coming out, apparently on the Japanese website, you can read like the game's manual. They've just got the entire manual there, so you can find out the items, some of the tracks. Apparently, in the controls listing, they do have the TSR control list in there. So I think that mechanic is coming back for this game. Whether it's like you do that for certain missions, like if this game's got a career mode or whatever, or it's like an option you can have for like multiplayer matches, I'd be curious to see that come back as well.
Yeah. But as far as the gimmicks go, one of the biggest gimmicks of the game, besides travel locations, is customization. That we haven't seen since in fact, in terms of racing games, is Free Riders and Transform. Free Riders had a gear system where you can actually apply like here's extra boost, here's rings at the beginning, and I hated that because it was badly implemented to a point where I pick a speed-based character, but I can implement the power and flight abilities onto my gear. So what's the goddamn point of selecting the character when you can just do everything? So that was ruined. But also in All Stars Racing Transformed, we had that
it's kind of like perks. Yeah, it was kind of
like a buffs. I can't remember. It has a name. I can't remember. But you choose.
You had like different
something that was balanced or more boost on all.
Yeah,
and I think there was one that was like their own basic one. Yeah.
Yeah, they basically it was like perks. So one could make you go quicker, faster, whatever. I mean, I played.
And you had to play it as often as possible with a character to unlock their unique one, which was the gold standard for them.
Yeah, that was the thing. I do remember, weirdly enough, Lego 2K Drive actually had the similar thing where you can put a perk of, your drift can quicken up your boost, or you damage to other players, or you can regenerate quicker and stuff like that. So it's something I've seen other racing games do.
Yeah. So in Crossworlds, we have the gadgets, and judging by the screenshots and the manual I've seen, you can only apply up to at least 6 gadgets onto a vehicle, but these gadgets have their own numerical value. So they'll say 1, 2, or 3. So you can only have maybe a minimum of 2 gadgets, and these can be like drifting, having rings, getting certain power ups. It's fully customizable to how you want to play, and I guess if there's going to be a mission mode in this game, which I hope it does, because those are pretty fun. You can alter them and have. I would hope there is a preset that you can save, like with secret rings.
I'm pretty sure that would be in there somehow. That you can have your decked out car and you can save like different slots.
You have your pre-made decks and everything.
Yeah.
But so that gives you a lot of RPG customization.
Yeah, because the other thing in the game, if you've been seeing footage, is like the rings do actually make a difference in the game. So you can collect rings, and they do add up.
It's a thing, though. I don't feel that much different when getting the rings or the coins. The only time that actually really works in terms of rings was freaking Riders and Zero Gravity.
Wow.
And that's it. The rings in the game, in All Stars and such, did not make a goddamn difference over there. I have more rings to unlock certain things.
No, I mean, but that was kind of the current. I remember in All Stars, the first game, it was like Sega Miles. That was like the point you can get to. I mean, you could just abuse that to the point where you can just unlock everything within like your first playthrough, pretty much in an hour. So obviously they changed that up for Transformed, and similarly this one, it is kind of RPG mechanics. So the rings are going to do something. I think I
wouldn't be surprised if you use it like in TSR or even Free Riders, where you actually not Free Riders, Zero Gravity, where you actually purchase new gadgets and customizations. Speaking of vehicle customization, you can alter the part, not like in TSR. TSR didn't have much of the customization. It's just like you can change the wheels, the back, the front. But the differences between these parts were only minute. Like you get more speed, there's more weight, more. Yeah. Like there is still customization to it, but once you unlock the legendary stuff where it's all gold, which looks tacky as hell, it looks really tacky.
I know, but gold.
If you go do like a metallic look, have a blend of gold and silver, okay? It looks a lot better.
Yeah. But again, this seems to be they've split them. What I've seen is they kind of split them into different things. You can have the front section, the mid section, the back end, the wheels, that can all be like.
Yeah, and not only that, but you can change everything about it. You can change all the colors. So if you want to race down Kraken Bay and Metal Harbor looking like the Sixth Doctor's coat, you can.
You can have a multicolored madness there if you want, folks.
Yeah, and this is not just like certain cars; it's also extreme gears as well. And that completely blew over that. Yeah, the extreme gears are back.
I know. Of all things to bring back, you bring back the hoverboard stuff again. It's like, wow, did not expect that ever to be.
Yeah, I did. No one expected because we saw it extreme gear there, and like, is it in the game? It's in the game. You can play as the Babylon Rogues on the extreme gears, or you would have put you completely against how they play, put them in a car. I guarantee there'll be races where it's nothing but extreme gears.
I mean, that's probably going to be a mode. There probably would be a mode where it's just cars or hoverboards.
Oh, please be a mode. Please be extreme gear mode.
Probably. There has to be in there. I mean, I'll bring this up because ironically, during all this happened, I mean, the IDW comics of all things have just finished doing an arc about, the extreme gears being a comeback thing. And you thought, it's a cute reference to whatever. It just makes people are wondering, wait, were they subconsciously trying to plug this all along? Like, we're bringing this back in the next game, guys, but we don't want to tell you yet. Just enjoy this comic. Ooh.
Considering now that ended just one issue ago, it seemed kind of timed as well. And that was a pretty good arc as well. I mean, at least it gave a closure to Lanolin because everyone hated her. Everyone hated her because of her actions.
Yeah,
it's like she didn't know, okay, and she's trying to be a leader, trying to stop all this chaos. You probably would have done the same.
But again, I do wonder. Sorry.
No. But yeah, we were talking about customization.
Yeah, but again, I'm curious about obviously because one thing I'll bring up about the customization is. Some of the vehicles we've seen now, some of them are kind of redesigned versions of the cars from the last game. Some of them have been like up a bit. Although one thing I've noticed during the transforming sections, when you go, because again, you've got car, boat, and
this basically. Is also another thing lifted from Transformed. It's like you can go to boat, car, and plane.
Yeah. Although one thing I noticed, because again, compared to Transformed, is in each of the vehicles would have a unique model depending on what they do. So Sonic's someone's car would turn into a jet uniquely, and then turn into a boat uniquely, and all the rest of them. And this one, from what I've seen, is like they now have like these things where it's like they get either literal rocket boosters plastered to the side of the vehicles, or there's like a jet engine in the back. It seems like the car stays the same.
The car is the same. It's just the wheels change. You'll have little add-ons like little wings or little hover things on the side. So though it is visually not as impressive as Transformed, even though Transformed still highest rated one we have.
Yeah,
this it doesn't look visually impressive, but it seems to be gimmickly. Gimmickly is gimmickly even a word?
I mean, they were pushing a lot of like creative stuff in there, because the gimmick of obviously like you race around the tracks a few times and then it would change. Otherwise you start on the road for 2 tracks and then suddenly you're in the air for the last lap or whatever, or down and ground. That was like the big gimmick of the game. I do wonder with the vehicle stuff is I bet the reason they've done this is because you got this customization. It's like, well, you don't want to, how many models you're going to have to make for each transformation. So why not keep the vehicle the same and just have some add-ons for when it has to go in the air or in the sea?
Yeah, it's just kind of strange how the 360 or even the Wii U can actually handle a lot of transformations at once. And yet, on the PlayStation 5, we can't really do much.
Again, I think it's more just technical stuff. Even doing that.
Yeah, I think it's just like we get a lot more shit in.
Yeah.
So that's.
I mean, the other thing
with the customizations as well is like you got extreme gearbox, mix and mix match characters to find the perfect combo. As 45 unique and original vehicles. That's, I think it's slightly smaller than Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, but even then, with that game has been going on life support for years. Let's be honest, Mario Kart 8 has been on life support.
If that life support means like 6 shots of adrenaline to keep it. I'm hyping for that because that booster pack was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. So,
but it also, on top of all that, like 24. Also with that 24 tracks, 15 Crossworlds, 23 different power-ups, which include all-time old favorites like the rocket, the
punching glove that's come back.
The whiffs are back. Obviously, I don't mind at this point. But I also got a few new ones. Like you have warp rings. People say, why are the travel rings called warp rings? Well, because the warp ring is an actual item
because it warps you to different places.
Yeah. Essentially, that is like the bullet bill in a sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you also have King Boom Boo.
I was going to say that's another thing I've noticed in some of these tracks. The ghosts from Adventure 2 seem to make an appearance in quite a few of thes. That seems to be like a recurring feature.
That's their boo now. There's like, I just think they could have come up with a better name than a Boom Boo.
But still, it's kind of surprising that they seem to be a motif for the other things, especially because I know in the museum when you mentioned the final lap is and they're floating around the museum and even the skeleton dinosaurs come to life trying to grab you.
Yeah, I got flashbacks to Luigi's Mansion with that. The Luigi's Mansion 3, you enter a museum as a dinosaur and a flash of lightning, the dinosaur moved. I stopped walking towards it and go, fuck that. It is amazing when you get a light-hearted horror game that actually has horror elements that scare you.
I know, it's like even something that's meant for children could still terrify them to death. Even a person in his 30s, that can happen. But also
speaking of characters with like the Babylon Rogues, there's 23 characters so far. So far.
Again, we're supposed to be getting different tracks than maybe some of the Sega characters, so there is more probably yet to come.
Yeah, 23 characters, free gameplay, free main modes, play with 1 to 4 players, up to 12 players online, which Mario Kart 9 is going, haha, we got 24. Like, that is going to cause wars, Nintendo. I hated it when it was 12 on Mario Kart Wii, I think. I was saying, okay, I got hit. Then I got hit. Then I got hit. Yeah. Why am I 10th?
I mean, that's something, actually, another thing someone pointed out is in TSR, for instance, if you got hit, you would suddenly just, I think, again, I have to replay myself, but if you got hit by someone, your car would just suddenly stop. It wouldn't be just, you slow down a bit. No, you just come to a sudden stop. But I think that was done for balancing with the team mechanics stuff, whereas this one seems to be, if you get hit, you'll still move, not as quick, but you'll still be moving, and then you obviously regenerate. That's the other thing about the vehicles, is like, when you do get hit, there's one ability with that, you get this like buzzsaw that cuts the car in half, and then it kind of like digitally reforms itself. That seems to be like the new visual gimmick they're going with this one.
Yeah. Also, I've noticed in the backgrounds of the races when the star, there's a lot of Dondompa sponsorships.
Yeah, I mean, he's making a comeback again, this lad.
He's probably like, also on the banner I saw as well saying, we welcome to Chaos Island as a vacation hotspot.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like, are you kidding me?
I'm pretty
Out
sure
of all the places to visit,
that's
going to be a track. Yeah, that's going to be a track.
Yeah, that has
all
to be
places all places to visit as a vacation hotspot, or even a racing track. You choose Chaos Island. I'm pretty sure the agents would love to know what you did to that island. And also, why Chaos Island? Don't tell me. Oh, because several generations did it. Yeah. Well, why don't you use Ares Island? Why not that? Or Chronos? You know, you got the temples and such.
I don't know. We're not the ones to pick these tracks, unfortunately. I mean, we're probably still going to get a lot of people saying, "Why did you put this and that?" And we're bound to get that when the game comes out.
Yeah, I'm still pissed and put Sonic the Hedgehog 2005 track in Shadow Generations. It's like it was right there, there. You didn't include it.
Yeah, but I mean, how they went far as we'll have the big villain from that game. I mean, that's your big 05. That's your big Mr. Moody's, the games come back. But anyway.
Yeah, but here's Radical Highway, so we double dipped on SA2. I'm not letting that one go.
I know.
But already the game, you can wishlist the game and pre-order. I'm not too sure you can pre-order it yet, but there's two versions of digital. You got the base game standard, okay?
Yeah.
Then a digital deluxe. Yeah. This includes the base game, early access to the game, which I want you to stop doing.
This is becoming a thing with games now.
You can play the game 3 days early. Okay, then release the game 3 days early. If it's available to get 3 days early, just fucking release it. Because what that does, it allows people to record, upload, get clout, and spoil the entire goddamn game.
I mean, let's be fair. There are people who, when they review games, they're often given the codes to them early, so that they have the reviews ready when the game officially comes out.
Yeah, but I think thing is though, there is something called an embargo.
I know there's an embargo for that thing, so I don't know why.
I hate early access to games. If you early access should be the games in freaking alpha or beta, and you can just play it, find bugs, report them. I know you're paying. I know you're paying to be a fucking beta tester, but at least that's something.
I mean, that's
releasing the game 3 days early when no one else in the entire world can get it, just because it's fucking ridiculous. I hate it.
I know. Well, weirdly enough, there was one of after the showcase at State of Play, they did say that there is going to be like a closed play session of the game for people on PS5. So I think that's like the beta testing for the game so far. So that's happening.
My question is, why isn't there an Xbox or Nintendo version? I understand that beta test, you have to make sure the online play.
I think that's the key. Well, because it's through PlayStation, I think that's like the key thing. Is like, well, we did it through their big showcase thing, so that's what the players can get. And also, Sony have been in the shitter, obviously, with the whole, oh yeah, the network's down again. Oh dear.
Yeah, it took an entire day. I'm surprised there's no reports to the police saying, I can't play Xbox. I can't play PlayStation. Because it was.
Sorry.
So, but also there's going to be a season pass, which obviously is going to be one because it says below it, Sonic Prime playable characters. Yeah,
that's the first thing. That's of all things they've announced, like, who else is going to be this game? Because obviously when they announced Crossworld, I mean, initially it's like, okay, it can't be just Sonic's world already. It's going to be other places. So the fact that, okay, we're going to bring those guys in as characters, again, whether they have their own vehicles or you can just swap them out with the base characters, I'm curious to see what that is.
I'm just wondering how many characters are going to be in the playbook. Like, is it like a set of 3, a set of 5 characters? Like, what we're going here? Is obviously you're going to include 9 because he was the main character of the entire show.
I mean, I'm pretty
well,
certain
more
the
like
entirety of the show. The entirety, I do wonder, the entirety of that show probably was down to the pitch was, what if we do a show where Tails didn't meet Sonic and becomes the villain? I bet that was the pitch they said to Sega to get the show greenlit. I wouldn't be surprised if that was it.
I'm still convinced that all the writers on that show enjoyed writing evil characters of the main cast.
I mean, they do.
Because I guarantee 9, Rusty, Fawn, Grim Sonic, and possibly Dread.
I'm just going to say this. I mean, I will say that I definitely love the business they did with Amy in that show. I love, like, the fact that we get to see all the 3 different iterations of Amy all coming together. I thought that was like, wow, you really, if there's a lot of things about that show you can argue about, and God Almighty, I've seen bitch fits over that thing. But I do will say, like, when you get to see the old versions of each of the characters, it is fun. That's like the fun aspect of the show.
Yeah, I can't remember what the pirate name was called. I think it's Black Rose, or is it Ruby
Black
Rose?
Yeah,
Black Rose. Got it right in the first team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Black Rose is just Amy if she was a pirate, whereas Fawn and Rusty were just.
Well, again, one's Jungle Savage Amy, and the other was a Terminator Robocop Amy.
Yeah, I guarantee it's those 5 characters, because those are the same 5 characters you get to play as in Sonic Dash.
Okay.
Yeah, she plays boss. I know you play as Boss Mate. Boss Maze Cage.
Yeah, Boss Cage.
Sonic as well, but really it's just another version of Sonic. So it's Rusty, Fawn, Nine, Dread, and
I mean the easy one would be him, because all you have to do is to swap out his his decks, his gloves and shoes, most of the time. But again, I'd be curious to see who they bring in for that. I'd be surprised.
I guarantee it's those 5 characters. I mean, hell,
put it this way: you can bring in Mr. Dr. Eggman for like the Chaos Council console. Bring that one and have like animations of his, his toupee flopping up and down.
If anyone is going to be taken from the Chaos Council, it'll be Dr. Babble.
The baby.
It will be, Be a giant. His car will be a giant rattle.
Oh god.
One of the characters as well that surprised everyone. Sage is playable.
Yeah, the first time. Eggman's digitally constructed daughter basically is now playable in one of these games.
Yeah, but it's not just she is playable. It's just that she's in her light mode, or light version, I like to call it.
Yeah,
where she's blue and white instead of black and red.
Yeah, well, and it's like that seems to be her, like, feeling emotions. I think that's the key thing with her. It's like that's
her evolved state, kind of.
Yes.
I know at the end of Final Horizon, that's what she looked like at the end of the game. So I guess that end is technically canon, even though I preferred the original ending, because that was more beautiful.
I mean, to be fair, like, you can take either one, because to be fair, the game ends with her, suppose, base game, she sacrificed herself, at the end of the game, and even after the credits, seems Eggman's going to try and find her from Coco Afterlife. Anyway, so you can take either one, whichever takes your fancy.
Yeah, but not only that, her car is just Giganto's head.
I know, and immediately people saying, did she just gut that thing to make the car? I've even seen like someone do like a webcomic where she just beats the shit and just takes its head as a vehicle.
Yeah. There was another one saying, "Father, I purchased a car. I need your signature on a down payment."
Yes.
Okay. Eggman is never struggling for money. He owns a casino. He owns an oil plant. He is never struggling for money.
I mean, he's got quite a lot of industry out there, even if the ones that don't get destroyed by woodland critters. But, he does have income to build a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, speaking of Eggman, his vehicle's the Egg Drillster from Sonic 2.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, like, a lot of the vehicles are kind of like slight retworks of what they had in the last game, although there are some, either changes up or quirks. I'd be surprised if you could swap that out for like a different head in the custom votes for him. But another thing I noticed, obviously, like the main track they showed off, like the one that's in the big sort of stadium thing, is they got like these digital holograms of like Sonic 1 levels. I think there's even gameplay footage of them playing as you're driving around. So
yeah,
still going on the nostalgia wank here, folks. We may not get Green Hill as a track of this, but there's still.
Here's the thing, though. When it comes to nostalgia baiting, a racing game doesn't really surprise me.
No, it's not. I mean, to be fair, I like how it's done in this. I mean, again, it's kind of okay again, but all right, it's a hologram kind of pixelated 3D. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, So I'm not angry. I'm just kind of like, okay, you've got some. That's something I didn't expect to see, but hey, it's nice.
Yeah. Also, I just looking at the screenshots as well. One of the tracks which I am looking forward to playing through, because it's one of my favorite levels in Sonic Rush, Water Palace.
Yeah, I did see that.
He says, "How do you like a water level?" Because I like it when water levels are done right. There is only 2 water levels in the entire franchise of Sonic the Hedgehog that are actually considered good, and that's Water Palace and Hydrocity in Sonic 3. I guess I said Hydrocity Sonic 3, not Hydrocity in Sonic Mania.
Is it
I potato
potato? It's potato potato.
No, it's not just the fact that people call it Hydrocity. I call it even though I call it Hydrocity, it's just Hydrocity is just kind of easier to say for me. But it's the fact I prefer Sonic 3's version over Mania's version. I didn't like Act 2. Really did not like Act 2.
Oh boy. again, I'm curious. Like I said, I mean, the thing I'm still looking forward to is to seeing what other these Sega tracks they're going to include. I mean, going back to the museum one. So you said you might be from Mongolia, although I think, and only just when I rewatched it, I think that could be taken from 2 Point Museum, because if you remember, there's a Sega owns a series called 2 Point, because they did one a hospital. They're basically like years ago in the 90s, there was a thing called theme park, ride or theme park hospital. So it was kind of like a it's basically like a simulation where you have to look over a hospital or a theme park, keep the residents happy and stuff. And these are the spiritual successors. So again, I'm pretty sure that's taken from that game. And I think as we're recording this, I could be wrong. I don't think that game's officially out yet. So they're already putting
I know 2 Point Hospital. I know 2 Point Hospital was just basically just a all or nothing deal, and it became very successful all DLC. Then they made 2 Point Campus.
Yes, that's the other one. So Museum is coming up soon. So we already got we've got 2 Sega themed levels already here. It's the case of, all right, which are you going to use the big ones? Are we going to get Shinobi one? Are we going to get Skies of Arcadia? Are we going to get Burning Rangers again? I can be curious if they do bring back any tracks from Transformed. On the one hand, that'd be probably easier, but then you start to rebuild them anyway. But I'd be curious if they do end up recycling some of the tracks from the older games and put them in here, or they do end up rebuilding them or changing them up a bit.
Again, the aircraft carrier is definitely from Transformed. I would, if I was new stages go, I would mind something from a Shinobi stage from or was it Transformed or was it Sega All Stars?
Well, describe it. Do you remember what? No, it was definitely Transformed. It was Shinobi was in Transformed.
Yeah, it was definitely Transformed because one of the characters was Joe Musashi.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring that in because you're releasing a new Shinobi game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be in there somehow. They'll shove it in there in some form. Actually, one level I would love them to bring back again. Do you remember? Because one of the final levels of the game was called Race of Ages, which is meant to be like the sort of huge sort of inside a computer digital foundry of like all the Sega stuff. You had like holograms of various things.
Yeah.
There's a bit you fly down and there's displays of all the Sega consoles there.
A remix of that with the new stuff.
Yeah. Although one thing I would love, and this is my personal thing, if you're going to bring back any characters from the previous games, one thing I love, and this is a really thin chance that might happen, but I would love if the Bonanza Brothers come back again. Because I don't know about you, but
it's the thing. If they're going to bring a Sega pack of other Sega characters and franchises, it'll be the ones that are coming out or being announced. Like, there's definitely going to be Joe Musashi on a stage for him. There's going to be a virtual fighter stage with Akira and Jackie.
Yeah, we know there's the big comeback Sega because we know Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio.
There's going to be a Golden Axe and with Gilius Funhead back.
Yes, so we know that. So we know those are on the way.
There's going to be a Crazy Taxi. And the fifth one, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but again, I just like the idea, particularly when that first game, because again, when that first game came out, a lot of it was kind of a mixture of different things. Like, you had the popular ones like Ryu from Shenmue, you had Alice Kid, that was kind of like but again, that was part of the fun of that first racing game, was there was kind of a collection of like well-known but kind of more obscure things like Choo Choo Rocket, like you got the mouse running in the rocket. You had
it was like at the Smash Bros. Of Sega games.
It was, yeah. So it was kind of a mixed match and stuff. And as I said, the fact that the Bonanza Brothers were in there, because given the fact they've only had one game and they're kind of more obscure, it's like I just like the idea that you could have them in the game again. Like these two, I've described them as Lego gangster men. They're like minifig Lego gangsters just driving around. And I love one thing I do like from the footage again is like, and this was missing from Transformed and a little bit from the last game, was when you beat the horn, the characters would do like a little animation. They would do like a little stance out of the car and stuff. And some of the stuff that Bonanza did was just brilliant. And from this one, because one other aspect we mentioned is you can seem to jump. You can seem to jump and do like quick tricks in there. So that seems to be a thing for the game.
Quick tricks is an understatement. It's like you went up a ramp and did like 4 tricks in a row.
Well, that's the thing. Like you can actually
you could not do that since Riders.
But I'm just saying, like, in this case, it's like you can actually, like, you get a hop, so you're able to do, like, a flip or two in the air when you're just on the regular track, as opposed to you have to wait for, like, a ramp or a jump off or something to do, like, the big stuff. Because another thing someone pointed out is for what Sonic does, because the characters will say things, like, a lot of Sonic sayings are like, cool, great, radical, jamming, people say, oh, this is taken from Adventure 2. So, presumably, that each character will make a noise or whatever, although where that comes annoying, I think that'll be a case of, well, there should be
I'm pretty sure there'll be an option in the sound test to actually take the voices down.
Yeah, there will be. I'm pretty sure there will be. Actually, we'll end this. Here's the funny thing. Going back to the original All Stars Racing game, do you want to know you remember the announcer for that game? Remember the one for that game?
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of people were kind of like, thinking it was kind of annoying. And again, you could turn him on and off depending on. I can't remember if you could turn him off in the first release or whether they put that in a patch later on. But anyway, I found out actually who did the voice of that guy.
Who?
You remember Captain Hollister from Red Dwarf?
Mac McDonald?
Yeah, that's him. Yep.
You are kidding me.
No, it's definitely him. Of all people, to think that high energy coming out of that man, like wow, that is a wow.
I just think of the one from All Stars Racing Transformed where you actually quiet him down. Okay, hey, what are you doing?
But yeah, so Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I mean, again, it's looking good. I'm definitely excited for it. I wasn't sure what to expect from this. I mean, I assumed it was going to be, crossover sort of tie-in games as well. But yeah, for the look of it, we're on probably for another solid race there, and I'm just curious to get my hands on it whenever I get it on the PS4.
I'll be getting on the Xbox Series X.
I know. So yes, the racing madness will continue.